This is Colin O'Keefe for LXBN TV. As part of our ongoing coverage of LegalTech New York 2012, I'm here with Burney of Burney Consultants after his talk on the iPad. This I think, we're in the very early goings of LegalTech New York, but this is one of the most crowded sessions. It was standing room only in the back. So obviously the iPad is a very hot topic in the law right now. Can you talk a little bit about the prevalence and the adoption of the iPad in law firms?
It is catching on like wildfire. In fact, I was just telling David, it's hard to believe we haven't even had the iPad for 2 years now. I mean, it was introduced in January 2010, but it wasn't even on sale until April of 2010. And look how quick it is. I mean, it's almost ubiquitous wherever we go. You see so many of them here today. And I think, as David mentioned in the presentation, there's just no way to stop it. It's always viewed as a consumer device first and foremost. And so the lawyers are buying them, and the lawyers are bringing them into the firms, and the poor IT folks don't really have much of a choice on whether they're going to support it or not, because they're insistent on having it supported. But it can do so much. I mean, there's so much flexibility and functionality, and of course, it's just getting better. So I was not surprised. We even did this presentation back at ILTA in August, and hundreds of people were there. So this was great to see, though. I really enjoyed this. It's
great. It's exciting stuff, and yeah, people are just bring them in, and you know what? IT figure it out. We're bringing these in, and you guys can figure out the rest. Getting down to the specifics, what are some of your favorite iPad apps for lawyers? Especially when it comes to legal document editing.
Number one has to be Goodreader. In fact, I would say any legal professional that has an iPad, you have to have Goodreader. It's $5, but it does the best as more of a document viewer. And so for using PDFs, which is a lot of times what we deal with, especially if we download a case from the internet or you download a law review article, you have a PDF version of it, and most people will print it out, have a yellow highlighter and a pen and mark it up, right? Annotate it. Well, I can do all of that now on the iPad, and Goodreader is one of the best to do that. It's the most streamlined, and you can save files, you can bring in files from email, so Goodreader has to be absolutely the top. If you are interested in editing Microsoft Word documents, I would say probably Documents to Go, which has been around for a long time. I mean, they even supported the Palm Pilot when it first came out, and now they have an iOS version. So as far as bringing in a Word document and editing the text of the content of a Word document, Documents to Go is probably the best you're gonna get right now.
I see, and obviously, the iPad has been great for the legal profession, but are there any areas where it can improve? And generally, how much better do you think things will get for the iPad in the legal profession?
Well, it's this idea of the consumerization of IT, which is what we just talked about a minute ago, where the IT folks are having to support it regardless of whether they want to or not, in a way. But in the early days of the iPad 1, that was a huge concern because there were not really, Apple wasn't supporting the idea of security from a corporate standpoint. Now, that has changed tremendously even over this last year. Like, you now can support ActiveSync for Exchange, so that's really secure, as opposed to having to get email off of POP3 or an IMAP or something else like that. So Apple has come a long way in and of itself in providing those enterprise-grade security features, but we're still not completely there. Like, one of the things David said was, how do you get documents onto the iPad? Well, the official way from Apple is to use iTunes on a computer. Well, guess what? A lot of firms don't allow iTunes on their computers. So then you have the option of a cloud service like Dropbox. Well, immediately there you got another red flag, because how do you protect the confidentiality of documents on the cloud? So that would be what I would say is still where a lot of people are not quite as comfortable in using the iPad, but I find that's even constantly changing, and I would predict that the cloud is we're going to get more comfortable with that, and even with maybe other applications to move documents over to the iPad a little bit easier.
Yeah, I think it'll be interesting to watch. Apple, I think with a lot of applications, has put the onus kind of on the developers a little bit to find solutions, and it'll be interesting to see if they do find the solutions for the problems that it is, and I think that they will. That they will. Well, once again, this is Burney of Burney Consultants. For more of our ongoing coverage of LegalTech New York 2012, we got video interviews with LegalTech presenters, exhibitors, attendees. Be sure to check out lxbn.lexblog.com. Thank you, Brett.
Thank you.